Dear Dr. Sattler, welcome to Jurassic Park.
Hello again, today we're doing our first Minecraft mod for 1.12. For us, 1.12 mods are the peak entertainment point in Minecraft. Although 1.12 mods aren't really developed anymore, this group of developers are creating the best dinosaur mod so far, and will hopefully become a common dino mod like fossils and archaeology. This mod is the Prehistoric Nature mod, and this mod is a paleo-accurate recreation of time periods, flora, and fauna. In this mod, the players can explore through creating portals from various materials. I will talk about this later. Along with the 7 current time periods and 1 work in progress, this mod contains hundreds of extremely realistic models, while still keeping a somewhat Minecrafty look. Now, to download this mod, you are going to need other mods. First off, if you don't know how to set up Minecraft for a modded experience, then try looking for another video. First, about downloading mods. As it will not explain the process, the mods that are needed as follows. These are not needed, but extremely useful mods for Prehistoric Nature. Just enough items. Here's what you're looking at. These mods are what you actually need to run Prehistoric Nature. Hello Library, Patch Toolie, Dimension Downloads, Precambrian, Cambrian, Ordovician, Silurian, Devonian, Carboniferous, Permian, Triassic. These are all the mods in the main download page. It's just enough IDs, Prehistoric Nature. All of these downloads are posted at the bottom. While you are at the comments, why not leave one telling us how the videos are going? And also try to like and subscribe to see if you like our content. After that shameless plug, the links of the devs channel is also at the description, along with their Discord server and Twitter. We are so thankful that we could interview the Italian paleo girl. It was really cool to hear the story and info you had to share. My first question to them was, how did you start working on the mod? Or what got you interested in working on it? Their response was, I joined the mod team in September of 2021 after following the project for a while during its early stages, when it was still called Leopodrion and subsequently Prehistoric Flora. Funny thing about my first true encounter with the then only developer was me joining the mod's Discord server due to our world's corruption from too many IDs provoked by the humongous quantity of trees the mod was pouring into the game. After joining the Discord server and the release of the dimensions and the first bunch of animals, I managed to get into the mod team, myself as a modeler, texturer, and paleontological counselor. Since then, my role in the dev team substantially, and I now also code for it, alongside the aforementioned roles. My first contribution to the mod, and the first actual Minecraft model I ever produced, was the Crotalocephalus, a Silurian Devonian trilobite, which I recently remodeled. The aspect of the mod that intrigued me the most and pushed me to join the team was the selection of organisms, the effort and attention to detail the team was putting into recreating these ancient environments. My second question was, how long does it take to gather information on all the creatures that you work on? Their response was, depending on the organisms and data availability, it could take from a few hours to some days to gather enough information to judge if the creature is eligible for the mod or not. Each animal is represented in the mod, in fact, is handpicked based on the biome it will fill in the game. But more importantly, the completeness of the known remains. As taxa described from extremely fragmented remains are usually discarded early on during the selection process. To make the best reconstruction of the animals we possibly can, each and every single one of them is based on actual skeletal diagrams, both from composite and rigorous as well as an actual body to research into them, the form of scientific papers and other academic sources. Me and other members of the team, like Beat Wither, make sure review the anatomy, size, and all the small details that then end up in the models for the mod, ensuring even the smallest animal is easily recognizable as the taxon we are representing. An actual small suit of other professionals in the field are also present, and we seldomly call upon them for further help if our resources don't suffice. Colorful animals are also thought out based on known information as well as a lifestyle and biome in which they will appear in the game, making sure to avoid unrealistic correlations that will not allow the animal to survive in its environments or employ large amounts of structural colorings like blues and greens. The body of literature employed in the creation of these animals is obviously also reflected in the animations they perform, as the movements take into account maximum flexion of their limbs and myology. While talking to the dev about the mod, one of them was the paleontologist villager is based off the famous paleontologist Mary Annings. For context, Mary Annings is nicknamed the Princess of Paleontology, as she discovered the plesiosaurs and helped discover the Ichthyosaurus. The villager house is also based on her house. This just shows the great quality that this mod has through the multi-step development that these devs go through for the hundreds of creatures in this mod. In my opinion, this feels like a AAA mod in the making, and my first impressions really support this idea. When I started on my single player world, I immediately and collect the required materials for a portal to the Precambrian or Ordovician, while also doing the classic Minecraft requirements like getting an iron set and also another portal. This was just the beginning of my new experience. While traveling through my world, I encountered a village that had two new structures, paleontological house and a sort of greenhouse. This building contained two types of villagers, a botanist and a paleontologist. From what I could tell from what they sold, these people would be key to unlocking a major content of the Prehistoric Nature mod. After permanently borrowing the supplies, I trapped the villagers in a hole and started trading. The emeralds were easy enough to get, as the emeralds were half a stack of leaves and I had an excess of iron. I eventually got to the first component of time travel, the time travel enchanting book. Next I needed a bone wand, which I also eventually achieved to get through a lot of mining and trading. I need either strolemite or mixed reefs to build either portal. These can also be found in the beaches and oceans of my world. So I started searching. Even though I could have traded it, I did not want to say I traded for everything, so I looked and collected enough to create these portals. I used the resin to make the blocks not fall, and I was done entering my first time period, the Ordovician. I entered an alien looking world and I was excited to find monsters looking in the ocean. I spawned in. The first thing I saw was an Agriocasis. A large arthropod was about a meter long and a bluish color. The first thing I noticed was the animation. It was extremely well done and butter smooth, and the modeling was very accurate and well textured. The next thing I noticed were the large formations of coral everywhere, and also creatures that were everywhere, including Macrina, Templosaurus, and some moon jellyfish. This was before even jumping out the portal frame. I also got in my boat and started rowing. While traveling, I encountered some ammonites, trilobites, and varied snails until I saw in the distance a landmass. This landmass was barren with no life other than some moss. I left the landmass in search of other things. While I was traveling, I found an icy plain. Underneath was a bright red forest of ground cover and various plants. While traveling along the ice, I saw the corner of my eye, the one of the largest things in the mod, the Endoceras. The Endoceras was a cephalopod, one of the largest out there. This thing was huge, at least 9 times the size of the player. I decided that since I could not capture it, I would kill it in the hopes of recreating it with the meat that it would drop. After a very one-sided fight, I killed it and it luckily dropped one clutch of eggs. After that, I left the Ordovician after conquering its largest creature. After that, I realized something. Besides that, many of these creatures would be very hard to contain and build suitable enclosures for. So I only did one reasonable thing. I decided to make a taxidermy museum, and it was my only goal so far. The objective: rip and tear until it was done. Overall, I 100% enjoyed the game, and as you saw from my experience, there are multiple paths that you could take while having this mod, running from a zoo to curating a museum. Many of these things were achievable with this mod. In the end, I really enjoyed this mod and will always play it on my multiplayer or single player worlds. This mod contains about 400 creatures and estimates when finishing to have around 1,000. So things are just getting started. Okay, so the system of classifications of this creature mod is pretty simple. They are either static or not. Things that are static means that they cannot change their position in their world. For example, the Carniodiscus or Arborea. They're also sorted in the time periods that they lived in. To keep track of the massive amounts of animals, in the mod you must create a Paleopedia, which will record every animal that you right click in the book. The Paleopedia has also everything you need to know about the mod. From taxidermy to revival. Plants that are extremely unique in the mod. There being hundreds of them running from small aquatic flora to towering trees. A cool feature about all flora in this mod is that all plants could be collected and spread through various means. Some things drop saplings, some spread spores, and others spread flowers and some just spread. I will just quickly summarize everything you need to know about being the top botanist in this mod. The description of the plant will tell you how it propagates. If it propagates through saplings, just break the whole tree down. If it propagates through spores, then collect it, then right click it with the spore collection envelope. If it has leaves, then collect its leaves with the envelope. If it propagates through flowers, pick a flower using shears and start right clicking other flowers with the flower you just picked up until you get a seed. To get the sapling plant, use the seed or the envelope. This will vary with sand. So I suggest using JAI to double check what you need. If you want to get of a certain thing quick, use herbicide weed killer, and also never plant the field horsetail. It will be impossible to get rid of, and it does nothing but cause trouble and end up everywhere. If you want something that spreads like crazy, I suggest the wood horsetail, which looks much more visibly appealing, and it is easier to stop. Let's start off with animal breeding. It is basically vanilla breeding, except animals have to eat specific things, meat or plants from the corresponding time period. The animals will either do a live birth or lay eggs. If they lay eggs, make sure that they have a nest block to lay eggs on. To take the eggs, just break the nest. Be careful though, as the animals will not be happy that you stole their eggs and will start attacking you. If the animal lays aquatic eggs, just use the file to collect the eggs. If the animal is static, then just use the shear to collect them. This also works for types of aquatic plants. To capture animals, you can make a small cage. You can only capture animals in the cage if they are less than one block in all dimensions. Eventually, the animal will escape the cage, so you must be quick on capturing the animal and collecting the cage. To capture an animal, just right-click it with an empty cage in your hand. After the animal is captured, click again to pick up in the cage with an empty hand. To actually travel back in time, you are going to need a few things. To sum it up, I will create a checklist of what you need to travel back in time. Bone wand enchanted with time travel enchant, made with 3 diamonds, 1 resin bottle, and 1 bone. Porta blocks, resin for securing falling porta blocks. To obtain resin, you can either trade with the paleobotanist or create a resin extractor and extract resin from a tree. There are only certain trees that you can extract resin from. This list includes from multiple mods. Minecraft Spruce, Prehistoric Nature Hymania, Prehistoric Nature Agathis, Prehistoric Nature Aurora Cryoxylon, Prehistoric Nature Column, Prehistoric Nature Bunya Arcurea, Prehistoric Nature Columnar Alucurea, Prehistoric Nature Columnar Arcurea, Prehistoric Nature Monkey Puzzle Arcurea, Prehistoric Nature Cydia, Prehistoric Nature Cyclopedias, Prehistoric Nature Cyclopedias, Prehistoric Nature Woolami Pine, Biomes of Plenty, Fern, Biomes of Plenty Pine, Jurassic Craft, Jurassic World Reborn, Araucaria, Wild Nature Cedar, Wild Nature Fir, Wild Nature Pine. To probably make a resin extractor work, make sure it's on top of the block and not floating. It will fill up very slowly over time, and it fills by bottles until reaching its max. Then it will proceed to overflow. Each portal is made from a different block for a different time period. Precambrian, Strolemite, Cambrian sponge, Ordovician, mixed reef, Cerulean, Prototaxite blocks, Devonian, Archaeopetrus planks, Carnivorous Calamites plant fiber block, Permian Glospetrus planks, Jurassic Glossopterus, Jurassic Dichronium, Jurassic Dichronium fumarans planks. Each block is obtained slightly differently. For example, Pertaxite block is made from pieces of Pertaxites. And the sponge, mixed reef, and Strolemite are collected while exploring the overworld, and the Calamites plant fiber block are the roots of the Calamites and are collected with an axe. Everything else is planks from a tree. All fossils are collected either mining for them or trading with them with the paleobotanist. I must say that trading is 1000% easier, since there are so many other things that you could get from mining other than the things that you need. The only blocks that need resin are the Strolemite and mixed reef, which are falling blocks. After all of your materials are gathered, then create a portal just like you could for another portal, and right click the portal with the bone wand to make the portal. Also, just like the nether portal, you do not need corners to make the portal work. To summon creatures, you must create a respawner. A respawner does not exactly what the name entails. It just respawns animals in their respective time period or biome. This means that you cannot summon a prehistoric creature in the overworld or summon a sheep in the Triassic. To make the respawner work, you must also enchant it with time travel. Okay, I'm going to make this as simple as possible in steps. Follow along. To mention, I will only be naming the tools and machines needed. You can find out how to craft them using JEI or just enough items. I will also show you my setup for the machines. 1. Obtain a fossil through mining. Any fossil block with a geologic pick. All fossils can be in the overworld underground, depending on the y-axis level. The deeper you go, the further back in time your fossil will be from. Use the microscope to analyze the fossil, and this will classify the fossil into either mobs, plant, or static. Using an acid bath to clean the sorted fossils by clicking on the small panel on the side of the block. In the crafting table, get one file, clean fossil, and benzyl solvent to create a DNA that was fossilized. Take your DNA and put it in the crifuge part of the DNA recombiner. Make sure to fill the other slots in the centrifuge with the DNA or empty files to make it start working. It will then automatically transfer the DNA into the oligo forge, and make sure to display the oligo forge with a lot of oligo pool. Benzyl solvent using the coal tar processor by putting logs into it. The oligo pool is made by using benzyl solvent into an oligo pool production machine. Lab grade sulfuric acid is collected in the Precambrian or made in the crafting table with sulfur and water buckets. Sulfur can be obtained in the nether, and when lava cools, when water is put on it, sulfur and zincron can form. Taxidermies are really simple to do. All you need is a taxidermy table and a taxidermy scalpel, any type of wood, and the meat of the animal that you want to display. There are 5 types of displays. Each one is for the size of the animal that you want to showcase. Hence are the 5 types and what they're used for. The display cases are for the invertebrates, up to a large animal, up to a block large, and small fish. Felines are for the terrestrial animals. Wall mounts are for anything to small fish to huge beasts, are for insects, and super small animal for fish. Item display are for items. To display insects, you must freeze them. To do so, you must first capture them in a jar, then encase the jar with ice or packed ice by surrounding it everywhere except the top. The insect will eventually die and give the item needed to display it. This will take some time to occur, so patience is needed. that is everything currently in the mod right now. If you want to do more in detail or some personalized help in the mod, make sure to download the mod and use the Paleopedia or use the mod's Discord. But there are also small updates that are happening. From what I've heard, all periods are getting a overhaul in terrain and new biomes. This has already happened with the Precambrian, which looks absolutely amazing now, although being a wasteland. Also, as I mentioned before, there will be around 1,000 total mobs in the game when they are completed. In the end, I am glad that I can make my mark in this mod's history. The mod is turning out to be hopefully the best dino mod in existence. But like all things, it's never perfect, and this is no exception. I encountered little bugs while trying to create footage for the video, but the ones that I did were either world crashing or world breaking. One completely soft locked me out of the world, corrupted it. All the bugs were from the taxidermies. It is very broken and not very well done in my opinion. But as of writing this, I am very not happy. Losing 2 hours of work to a bobbit worm taxidermy. And I think that it should really be ironed out. And I think it should really be ironed out, as it could be a very cool feature. And I can't wait to jump into a working version of it. I would also absolutely love a better explanation of the revival system, as it nearly took me 2 hours to figure out and process it, even with that Paleopedia. But I could really think of anything else other than suggestions, which I have a ton of, but not really construction criticism. I guess what the mod lacks are one major thing. I would like there to be better customization with the taxidermy, even though I like the variety already. I don't want you to have a trophy display room. I want to have a towering shoni glowing above you, like the whale at the American Natural History Museum in New York City, or at the Smithsonian's in DC. Even though that would look cool for a fisherman's hut, but I would like to have these choices. Like, I could use the floor display for the full body and the wall display for its head. So please remove the little stand. The plinth has it's really annoying, and you should be able to place it on the floor like the wall display. Anyways, I would like to thank you to the Italian paleo girl for doing the interview with me and for fact checking. Anyways, until next time, final rating 9.2 out of 10. Is this even English?